Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's
no.
episode of
Sorry.
Hollywood Matrimony Live. Wow, peace, dude. That looks good there. This big machine's covering it up. We have too much stuff on the table. It's what I
No,
was
we
just
don't.
arguing
It
about.
looks like we're.
Well, I didn't bring my toast. Oh, well.
I love that you said we have too much stuff on the table. I got to bring something else.
Well, if you're adding new stuff, I can add new stuff too.
Nobody argued that point.
Anyways, welcome to this week's episode. We have things to talk about, friends.
For dinner.
Okay.
Or are we trying to go with how many of us have them?
Either one. We got one. Okay, let me share my screen so we can talk about this. And then you had something you want to talk about. I don't even know what's happening. I'm kind of scared to know. There we go. Hollywood Matrimony. Make sure you check out our website, hollywoodmatrimony.com. Go find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Hive. Thank you for being here. All right. So I told our friends to come join us that some stuff was going down.
Nothing was going down.
What's going down with this?
Okay.
So we got some new figures this week at the store. We got this cool light up thing.
I got this for my birthday from one of my seniors exercise class. So I told them I was going to put it on the show. May or may not stay here. Just rearrange. It's brighter than I thought it was going to be.
I really like it. I might use it in my office because I have SAD, and so I like the light.
She's using this term she's never used before, but
I have always said
you've always talked about how you were.
I have seasonal depression.
She does not have seasonal depression. She just doesn't like it.
It makes me lethargic. It does make
you're
me
like that
sad.
all the time.
I'm never
She
lethargic.
has seasonal sad. She has hot sad. She has cold sad. She has I want enchiladas sad.
Oh, I do want enchiladas.
I don't want to have to cook sad. I don't want to take a shower sad. She's just sad, man. Anyways,
I think it's
so.
cool.
And then of course we got the twins from The Shining.
Yeah, that's our new one.
But the story that really has nothing to do with the show, but it is movie themed.
So it is movie themed.
So she came down here, and sitting here is the figure that's the young lady from The Exorcist. Why is it turned over? Did you take it out?
No. It fixed her vomit.
And she's throwing up her pea soup, right? Simple enough figure, nothing major, right?
Yeah.
So these figures are displayed up here at the top of our shelving. Right? There's just kind of a whole bunch of, almost a whole set. They're all up there. So one of the other figures up there that is not part of this collection is the Buddy Christ.
Yeah.
Right? Which is the Jesus statue from Dogma that I have a little statue figure of.
Yes.
So being funny, if you glance up there and see, you can see Nosferatu is standing behind him.
Yeah.
The nun is reaching out like she's going to grab him. He's doing this, and on the empty spot was her throwing her pea soup on the Jesus. Right? I thought that was kind of funny. So I came in here one day, and I found her on the floor.
Oh, she fell down.
And I'm like, ugh, these things don't stand well sometimes. So I don't know how long she was down there, but I picked her up. I had to search for her vomit.
Nice.
Found her vomit, found her, climbed back up to put her back up there. The next day she was down again.
It keeps falling.
And I thought Jesus keeps knocking her away because I'm putting the demon-possessed, devil-possessed child. So then I brought her in here. I moved her, but I'm going to put her back one more time. Put her one more time. I came in here. She was over here.
That's weird.
Like all the way. And so reach your arm out to the side.
I can't even reach it.
So for her to touch the wall.
Oh, I'm going to fall over.
That's how far she has to go over to where that thing is sitting.
Or just the wall.
It was over here on my side.
Could it have fallen and bounced?
That's all I can assume.
But Jesus was just like, I said no.
Yeah, and so then I decided to sit it here in front of your keyboard. So when next time we do the show, you'd see it and ask.
Lord.
But there's more.
Oh,
but wait, I came in here, put some stuff away. Normally I might say, I set my computer down here or something that just knocked it over or whatever. But I came in here, it was over there.
What?
And I was like, what the heck, man? So me being me, I just put it back up here and sat here. Was it standing up when we came in today? It's the longest it's been standing up in place in about a week.
That's
so creepy. The whole time you're out of town, this is what was transpiring.
Wow. Thank you, Jesus.
So needless to say, she's going back up there.
She needs a more stable base, maybe.
Her feet just moved because she actually stands up. No, good.
Yeah.
That's what made it weird because she stands up.
That is weird. Jesus was just like.
Anyway, I thought it was funny.
That's creepy is what it is. I thought you were going to tell me the cube was real or something.
No. I just thought it was funny because it kept that same figure is the only one of any of them that fall down.
Well, okay, during the week this week, I did come in here and move that monitor around. So I don't know
Yeah, but when you moved
when
you moved that around, it was up there.
Are you sure? It was like a day ago.
No, it's when I found it when I first found it the first time. It was over in the floor over there because it had fallen from here.
Oh,
I hadn't
okay.
put it here yet.
Okay.
I put it back up there like 2-3 times before I finally set it on the table. And I was going to just tell you, hey, Jesus pushed it over, haha. And then I found it over here that one day.
That's
and then
creepy.
I found it over there.
And the dogs don't get in here by themselves. No, the door's shut. So creepy.
And the only way I could have knocked it off from here all the way to over there was I'd have knocked all this stuff over.
Yeah,
that means weird. It had to go from here over all of this.
That's creepy.
But how did it bounce when it was sitting right here?
I don't know. Because look, it's moving.
Anyway. So now you know that we have a little toy that's probably possessed.
Oh, great.
So we're going to do a show and we'll see if we get through this.
You better not. Not today. Not today.
Maybe it's demanding that we watch The Exorcist.
Maybe so. I mean, I have watched it.
It's just
and I did watch that extended version, the new version. The newest.
Anyway, we don't have that many movies today. We only watched like 4 things.
Yeah, but don't worry.
But they're short things, but we can discuss things.
Okay.
So what
did you go back and watch any weird old stuff this week? Because I did.
No, because I've been watching the Venture Brothers.
Oh, okay.
So I've just been making my way through that series.
I was just like, if there's anything else,
the new box set that you see with the skull that's sitting here that looks evil, that's actually just a box set for the Venture Brothers.
Oh, okay.
And so I was watching through trying to make it through all 7 seasons. Because I reviewed it because I'd seen it back in the day, but some of the ones I don't think I watched it regularly, so I reviewed what I knew.
I gotcha.
But there's a new movie coming out. So I decided to go ahead and sit and try to watch it all to the end and then watch the new movie.
I say. All right. Well, let's see. What do you want to watch first? Or what do you want to talk about first?
Whatever you say, sister.
You want to go there?
I don't know what you're pointing at, but okay.
This is what's next. Okay. Let's go here. Let me share my screen.
What do we got, lady?
We are talking about The Covenant. Actually, Guy Ritchie's The Covenant, because somebody's like, this is my movie.
And the studios will be very active about, hey,
when you write
it's got to write as Guy Ritchie Covenant because it's in the title of the film.
That's weird, isn't it?
Guy Ritchie directed it, and he was what he wanted.
Okay, Guy Ritchie's The Covenant.
I like Guy Ritchie's
with
films.
Jake Gyllenhaal and Dar Salim. Okay.
Darth who?
Dar Salim. So we've been trying to watch this movie for months, ever since it came out, and I don't know what happened that we kept missing it, and then finally we're getting to see it. I'm excited. It's out on the Blu-ray now, right?
No, it will be this week.
Okay, so we're here to talk about this. Yo.
And I like Guy Ritchie's films. I'm pretty sure you like most of them. You probably don't even know which ones he did.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll go look
He
it
did the Sherlock Holmes movies with Robert Downey Jr.
Like those.
He did Aladdin, the live-action version.
Yes.
He did that Wrath of Man movie with Jason Statham.
Yes.
He did The Gentleman, which is one of my favorite movies that year that it came out. Which I still don't think you've ever seen.
Are you sure? Oh, no, I didn't. I did not get to see that.
Such a great movie.
He liked King Arthur, which we did like, and no one else did.
Yeah, I think it got a bad rap. I mean, is it exactly what you would have wanted from a King Arthur movie? No, it's more of a hip
but he
version.
Did it.
I thought it was a fun movie.
Isn't he the one that was married to Madonna briefly?
I think so.
Okay. Could be making that up.
I don't remember. Anyway, what is The Covenant about, my love?
He has a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
Congratulations to him. What is The Covenant
about? The Covenant is about war.
So
it's about post 9/11 when the U.S. troops are sent into Afghanistan to find EIDs and try to stop the Taliban. And it really focuses on the roles of the interpreters while during the war. And it's interesting because it did remind us a little bit of the show, The United States of Al.
Yeah.
So basically, they told the interpreters, if you help us, we will work with you to get you visas to come to America.
And it's interesting. The film is kind of told in 3 arcs. The first arc is the meeting and the battling and the formation of an unexpected brotherhood between this sergeant and this interpreter. It's very action-packed. It's very character-driven. It's very kind of heavy on that part of it. Then it shifts to dealing with kind of the PTSD and the guilt and the aftermath of battles and things that have gone horribly wrong. then it turns into a rescue film.
Yeah.
Of trying to make amends of something while paying a debt that you think you owe, while trying to get somebody out and give them what they were promised. Because a lot of the people that, after the war stuff ended and people left, they essentially became, targets for the Taliban.
They were considered traitors.
Yeah, and so they
were reporting on them or whatever.
Initially were being murdered. They had run and hide in caves and run around and live on the run for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, and I do like that the end of the movie gives us some statistics of the thousands of interpreters that have been killed and or now living in hiding, like you said, for the rest of their lives. And the U.S. did not uphold their end to get them out.
And it's messed up because you'll hear people talk about it where they're still from there and this and that. And I'm like, you make a deal with them, you need to honor it. That's bull. That's the kind of thing that makes the idea of the foreign devil more real. Is that people look at Americans, you had that two sides to say that specific word with the Taliban. It makes us sound like the Taliban are not wrong because, hey, we stepped up and tried to risk our lives to help you because we want the American dream. We believe in you. And we're like, sure, we'll help you out, and then do nothing to them. That's going to make those same people like they're right. Yeah. They are the white devil. They are jerks. They are horrible. People,
I don't know. I flip back and forth on this. I understand the reason in the way that we went, but then again, it was a lot of unconfirmed issues. I think at the time, America needed someone to blame, and we needed to go to war to retaliate. Even though CIA tells us that there was a little bit of an inside job, there were people here that knew about the attacks. I don't want to go there because then you're going to say I'm a conspiracy nut, but it's true. So I don't know. And then we do this often. We, the United States, do this often where we insert ourselves into other countries and then we leave suddenly and we've left everything kind of in a disaster.
It was interesting because the end of the movie says, like right after we left, it was months, the Taliban just took back over like we were never there.
Correct.
So it's like, what was the point?
And you remember on the news, they were showing people like running towards the airfields to try to get on the plane. And they're like, we worked with the U.S. We were interpreters, saved my wife, saved my kids. And these people are just standing there on the airfield. And they're like, no. And then the other dumb thing that we do is we leave, big machines or tanks or whatever there. So now they have all our equipment. It's I don't know. It's ridiculous. War is dumb. And the casualties of war is what the movie really
it's interesting, explores. Even though the movie really focuses on Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, these two guys.
It's focused mostly on Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
And it's kind of his arc. But it's a story about them both.
Yeah.
Is because there's that whole middle of the film you don't see the other guy, the interpreter. But then we bring him back, but there's a lot of depth to their relationship that's unspoken. Like I kind of joke with you about, there's a moment where they just both kind of nod, where they understand where they're at and thank yous. And it says about 50 different things, and all they did was nod. And I said, that's how two men thank each other and how they understand and connect emotionally. But it's an excellent movie. It's way more to the movie than I thought. I thought it was going to be more of a kind of just a straight up action and war thing. But I like that those little arcs of the story allowed it to really get invested in each element of what it was, the work and the betrayal and then the rescuing, and then and also how the first half, everything that happened in the first half of the movie that made them to the most wanted guys by the Taliban also made them legends to the military. And using different names and stuff. But when people find out who it is, they're like, holy crap, this is so and so, and I would have helped you for nothing.
Yep.
But you don't know how that all comes across because of the way people are treated.
And I don't know. So yes, the story's about Jake Gyllenhaal, and then the second half is really about the interpreter and the consequences of being an interpreter and helping these people. And it's now his story of survival and or escape, like what's going to happen. And it's crazy. And I don't even understand. There's a moment in there where he's struggling to try and get Jake Gyllenhaal out. He's trying to help him. First of all, he had no obligation to help this man anymore at all.
That's what I'm saying. That's how.
But he did it.
That's what his.
It's really about him to me.
His purpose,
this story's about this guy.
He made an agreement to do something, and it's the honor that he has to stick to what he agreed to do, no matter how people treated him, no matter what the disagreements were. He said,
"Yeah, I'm part with you. Yeah, he's part of the crew."
And that's where the bond happens because as he's developing the memories of what happened, and he's now feels the exact same obligation. That I've got to get him out of there. Yeah. No matter who's going to help or not.
There's one, they show it's a montage.
They should have got the guy that got all the beer in Vietnam. He could get anybody. Right? Anywhere.
Oh my gosh. Who was that? That was
Zac Efron in that movie.
Yeah. No, but this guy, there's one point where he's just like screaming and crying. I'm like, man, cry it out. And they keep going. I'm like, you can do this because that's what you do. You cry it out and then you keep going. It's to me, it was a very moving and emotional movie, and it's not really about the war. It's about these guys and their unit.
There's plenty of action.
There's a lot happening. There's some big long fight scenes too, and it's crazy and what these people go through. But yeah, to me, it was just the story of these two men and their covenant, and the covenant is an unbreakable bond. It really is, and how they help each other. And then it's also secondary to me about what the war did to all these people. I think not just the people who were there in Afghanistan, but even to our troops who went and suffered and now have come back. It just devastates everyone. Nobody's the same. And like you said, the Taliban came back and took over in a few months. They had control of the whole country again. And, all of their people, not all their people.
I think there's a lot of people that forget, too, that whether we should be there or not, there's too many people that are blinded by the mentality of it's Afghanistan. That whole country is against us. And it's not. A lot of them, probably more than not, were against the Taliban as well. They're being held as slaves. They're being held in a corrupt government or a corrupt
85% of the country lives in poverty with food disparity, under siege. I mean, they have no access to anything because they're controlled.
It's not and that happens a lot of these countries that get the stigma of this country is just terrorists. This country is they're just bad guys, if you will. And it's not always the case. More often than not, there's a sect that is the bad guys. Yeah. And it's just like the idea of saying Muslims are bad. Muslims aren't bad.
No, they're nice people.
It's a group of Muslims. Because guess what? Christians are bad too. No, it's a group of Christians.
Some of them are.
And we all have the same difference. The difference is in those countries, war and terrorism and all these things are happening everywhere. Broad daylight, middle of people's houses. Here, it's happening in sections. It's not happening like in our neighborhood. So it's easy for us to forget it's happening. Yeah. Correct. But if you lived in New York or Washington or something with these bigger government buildings and bigger cities, then you see some of these terrorist attacks or you witness some of this stuff. But still, people living on the outside of those aren't seeing them. Mm. And it's created this falsehood of what these other people are. It's sad, but
it's sad. Anyway,
it's not going to change.
It's an amazing movie. It really is. I really enjoyed it.
I really liked it too. I thought it was going to be most just action, but there's a lot more depth.
There's a lot of heart there, man. It's a lot.
I like Jake Gyllenhaal anyway.
I do too, and he does have beautiful blue eyes. That comes up in the movie, but he does. They're very piercing. It's like, even in all the dirt and soot and blood and guts, it's like beautiful blue eyes. Anyways, okay, moving on. Check on The Covenant.
The Covenant will be available on Blu-ray and DVD this Tuesday on June 20th.
There you go.
And you can also win one on our website at
HollywoodMatrimony.com. Okay, now we're going to go to another shoot 'em up.
Oh.
Because this was the new movie on Netflix this week.
Yes.
Extraction Part 2.
The sequel to the hit Extraction that I believe came out.
Was it last year?
No, it was longer than
the year before?
Was it the COVID year?
It helped us get us out of the slump, is all I know. Because we're like, what? Chris Hemsworth's on Netflix? It's 2020. It was.
It came out in the year of COVID.
Man.
And it was a massive hit.
It was great.
But if you saw the first one, it had kind of an ending where you assume it's spoiler that
obviously
Chris
he's
Hemsworth's
okay
character Tyler Rake was dead. But there's also a scene at the end of the movie where this kid that he had protected in the first movie comes out of the water, and you see a blurry person in the background. It's implied that he's not dead.
Yeah.
That never plays
Somebody
up in
helped
the
him.
new movie, so it was kind of weird.
There's just one thing. It's like, man, you look like crap. Did you like fall off a bridge or something? He's like, yeah.
So the new movie picks up exactly where the last one left off, where they find him. And so it gives us ample time to explain it, how he survived and going through medical stuff.
And months go by of him just trying to recuperate.
kind of set up a whole new direction. It is not a rehash necessarily of the first movie. There's elements connected loosely, but it's really its own thing. And that's kind of what I like about this Tyler Rake character being a mercenary like this is you could do tons of movies of this guy just on different missions and different things happening.
Well, and it's based on a series of books. So there could be multiple adventures. So
are the books called Extraction as well? It's a graphic novel, not a book, right?
Oh, is it a graphic novel?
I thought it was.
Let me go see. We'll keep talking.
But yeah, so this new one, it dives right back into the same thing. We get to feel his healing, and then we have a new character has popped in.
Based on a graphic novel. Look at you knowing some stuff.
We're not going to tell you who. It's a surprise cameo shows up to bring him into a new job. And then, of course, madness ensues.
And madness always ensues, right? And drags him back in to go on another extraction mission. So, who knows?
The graphic novel is, how do you say this? Ciudad?
Ciudad.
Okay, that's the name of the...
Yeah.
Oh.
That's interesting who wrote that.
Well, it's funny because the Russo brothers, which are the guys that made Winter Soldier and Avengers Endgame and all that stuff.
Yeah.
They're producers on the film, but they also wrote...
They wrote that graphic novel.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. So, anywho, but it takes them on a whole new mission. It's basically more of the same stuff. We get a little more depth, I think, to his character.
Yeah, we get a little more story. I think we find
an annoying kid who betrays everybody, but you also understand.
That's always going to happen when there's some dumb kid.
In this case, though, I will say, as annoying as that child was, I felt it was a good example of being indoctrinated.
Yes, very.
Into the mindset of like the criminal organizations or terrorist cults or, sex. Or being in a cult mentality. Because it's his family, but the family is actually this terrorist type organization, and he believes that they're his family, and he should go back to them. So in turn, he screws people over or whatever.
He just doesn't know.
But in the bigger picture, it's just a badass action-filled flick. And can I just say, we all know him as Thor. That's what he got his big thing. He's done a lot of other stuff, but Thor is the thing. I honestly think this is a bigger thing for him than Thor. Like, we know Thor is fun. This is his John Wick.
Yes.
And he carries the action amazingly. It's plenty of it. There's fighting, there's gunfights.
But there's real emotion to it too, because you find out more of his life kind of story in this, and it's very heartbreaking. And just for being, it's one of that double side of the guy where he's like this big tough military dude, but on the emotional side, he's just like, I just couldn't handle it. That's what happened. Just flat out, I couldn't handle it emotionally. So that's why he's doing this. So there is multi-layer to it. And I like like you said, the new character that's come into the story to make it really interesting and where we could go in the future if they continue to do this. OMG, intriguing is what I'm going to say. I was just like, you're like, do you know who that is? I'm like, yes, I do. I'm excited. What's going on? Don't tell anybody who's there.
What are you talking about?
The new missions. Or potential new like, we're going in some good places.
We don't know who the other person they're talking about is.
No,
yet,
but
what they've done is they've already announced that they're developing a third film.
Yeah.
And so Netflix has a full-on franchise. They've really been pushing to find a franchise outside of TV show franchise.
Netflix has been doing some good stuff.
Well, they've been trying to find that next thing to be a movie franchise. They got the Enola Holmes. They got 2 out of that. I don't know if we're getting a third one or not. But here, we got the third one in development. Sam Hargrave, who directed these 2, is going to direct the third one. He's also ex-stuntman, which is it's a very much same formula as the John Wick films.
John Wick.
Whereas you have a stunt person who's now the director, and in turn, that's why the action is so good and works so well. But this one, I thought this one as good as the first one, if not better.
Yeah.
The action's on point. I have to tell you, I had somebody that told me they watched the first movie and they thought it was horrible.
Really? Okay.
And I'm like, what movie did
what
you
were they
watch?
watching, or what were they?
And like one of their complaints was because the person made like a sniper shot at a mile away or something.
Because they're a sniper.
And like people that do that, but I guess it's because the person had missed a shot earlier.
Oh.
I'm like, oh yeah, because no one ever makes a mistake. But I'm like, but even that, forget that one shot. The movie is just fantastic for an action flick, you know?
Yeah.
You know, it's not Shakespeare.
Well,
it's an action movie.
Netflix is saying of their top movies, they are saying this is the one to watch.
Yes.
So, and then, you know, they're showing their top 10 is Extraction. Dunkirk's on there right now. Who knew? Boss Baby. It must be really popular. That movie
seems to cycle on Netflix all the time.
Oh, I love this movie too.
So anyway,
Boss Baby,
I mean,
yeah, I know.
It pops up on the top 10 every.
And Pitch Perfect. I always see a Pitch Perfect on the top 10. One of them during the week.
Anyway,
this is it.
I think Chris Hemsworth has found a great franchise. I didn't know this was on Netflix. I think he's really good in this role.
He is. He's good.
He gets to be his normal accent. He gets to be him. You know, there's that depth to him, but he's still an action guy. But he's, as you said, he's got a little more.
He's got some heart. There's a whole other side to him, which I like seeing. You know, in Thor, he's so emotionally disconnected because that's not a thing that Thor would have until later on in the films. But in this, you see really two sides to a human being, and I think it's interesting to see the two sides of a soldier. Yeah. Like a trained guy, like he can totally compartmentalize. But when we see the emotional breakdown, you see it, and it's deep, which then causes him to go further into the military thing to block that out. So it's really interesting. He does a good job in this.
I think too. I like the difference. The big thing that's going to make these movies stand out is how do they handle the action to not only amp it up but also keep it different feeling and original.
Yeah.
Because the first film is very straightforward, chases, shootouts, whatever. This one was taking you into like a full-on fight in a gym. A fight on sides of buildings, you know, parking.
That
garages.
Was making me nervous on that glass.
Oh, right. So it's creating intensity stuff, and you know, it's taking them through different things, so you feel familiar. That there's an entire prison escape sequence that is just badass. That's actually shot to make it look like it's one continuous shot.
Yeah.
Even though I don't think it is, it was probably an edited one, but it looks that way.
But you know,
playing with people on fire, punching people.
I was gonna say that was so cool.
Yeah, that's in the trailer. So that was a big selling.
I'm like, he was on fire and he didn't.
I don't think he was actually on fire. I think it was CGI fire.
Really?
Yeah, I think
but they could have done that. You've been on fire and it doesn't really hurt you.
I don't know.
Your arm's been on fire.
I know that, but
all it did is like.
That's just a funny statement. It's like you've been on fire. You're fine.
You're fine. He's fine. He was wearing a big coat. They could have sprinkled some stuff.
But the issue comes into when you're wearing that big coat, and then you're gonna throw punches at other people. So that's probably.
Well, if you saw it, some of the liquid got on that one guy, and he was on fire.
So I don't think. I think most of that was probably CGI.
Hope it was
I think
real.
there's elements.
I want to go out.
I think it was infused with both.
Okay. Well, whatever it was, it looked good.
Yeah, it looks
real.
great. That's why I used that specific poster that I did for the review.
Oh, I'm like
because they released a bunch of posters, and the one that you have right there,
yeah,
and then the one that's on the
website,
IMDb, carrying the kid, are probably the more average ones. But I like this one that I put up.
Oh, the fire!
Yeah,
the fire shot
looks
cool. Really good.
Where he's using the riot shield. I love this movie.
That was where I'm like, you've been on fire, and you're okay.
I've seen the movie twice now. I watched it to review it and then when you were watching it, so I could watch it together.
Yeah.
It's that kind of movie. It's like I enjoyed it again.
And these are ones like you could watch these over and over, just like
I did a marathon. I watched the back to back to watch this new one. So if you like the first movie, you'll love this one. If you didn't like the first movie, first, what's wrong with you?
Try this.
Second of all, watch it again because you're wrong, and then watch this one.
Okay.
But Extraction 2 is available on Netflix now.
All right. Next, you want to talk about this or this?
Whichever one.
Tell me about this, because you saw this today, so it's fresh.
So I went and I celebrated Father's Day by going to the movies by myself.
Aww.
Because no one loves me.
I love you. I went to go see Jesus first.
Well, I went to see Elemental, the new Disney Pixar film.
Were there a lot of people?
No.
First thing in the morning?
But I also went at 9:30 a.m.
Oh, that's so good when there's no one there.
There was two.
Love it.
Well, there was like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people besides me.
I love it when.
But those were like 9 people that were like 2 adults and a small child. I think might have been their first movie because they were taking selfies and stuff.
Oh,
and then it had
that's so
2
sweet.
bigger people up top, and then there was a family. It looked like I think the dad, and it was either 3 kids or maybe the wife and 2 kids. I didn't see the other people sitting.
That's nice.
And then me. the creepy old man with no child by himself in an Eazy shirt. Here to watch the Disney Pixar movie, covered in tattoos. Easy. Look like I'm here to rob everybody that's in that theater, but instead I'm here to watch the cartoon.
That's okay. Tell me all about it.
So the movie is basically, if you haven't seen the trailers, it's a story. It's like this world of all these different elements with fire and water and wood and clouds or sky or whatever you want to talk about. And all these different people, and they're kind of living in this segregated world of they don't avoid each other and they don't necessarily hate each other,
right?
But they live in their own place.
They just say they don't interact.
There's like Firetown and there's Watertown. It kind of reminded me a little bit of the world set up in Zootopia.
Everybody has their little section.
Down the street, they're walking down the street and like somebody walks into the cloud guy and the cloud guy busts apart and comes back together and yells out, "Watch where you're going!" That kind of thing. The fire girl accidentally touches this big bush.
Yeah,
all the grass burns off this guy and the wood thing. So, but it's basically a story. It's these two people that come together, the fire and the water. So it's two things that shouldn't mix, shouldn't be together kind of story. So you're dealing with the unnatural love element of two people that should not be together. Mm-hmm. You're dealing with expectations of your family and what they want from you, which kind of goes into the culture thing of they're being raised to work in this store or work in the family business. In reality, you have other aspirations, but you're told you don't do that.
Yeah, you don't do
that. You're also dealing with kind of the segregation of you don't mix with these other races or you don't with these other people. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of these kind of elements. There's even more than that, but I'm not going all of it. But there's a lot of these elements that are here, but none of them felt like they were forcing it. It didn't feel like a preaching movie of, hey, we know these two people aren't supposed to be together, but you're going to buy into this because this. Yeah. You see all these circumstances and you can relate like, oh, I understand that. I'm in an interracial relationship or whatever. And I remember having to fight with this person and this person or people looking at us weird or whatever. You kind of relate to it, even though you're looking at these weird looking characters.
Yeah.
And I was a little concerned on the trailers. I wasn't a big fan of the designs initially. But when you see it full on, it actually works really well, especially the fire one that looks a little simplistic. Like their nose, for instance, is still like, it's waving like a flame,
the
whole time.
That's pretty cool.
And the same thing with him is like there's moments where he's like the room is too hot. It's very subtle. You see him dripping because he's like starting to evaporate or whatever.
That's cute.
Like if they get too close together, you see his start boiling on the inside. And then, but it's the details that make the movie work. Of like you mentioned, scene in the trailer where she goes to their water house. Yeah. How is it gonna
make sure she doesn't get extinguished?
They address that like you can't go in here, so here, stand on this, and we'll roll you over here.
Yeah, see, I mean, it's just smart, the level of thought and detail that goes into this.
Like, there's a whole thing of, like, it's not really a spoiler, I guess, but where, like, she does glass blowing.
Oh.
But, like, she'll laying they're on the beach or something, and they're like, oh, look at the sand. And so she suddenly starts molding and then blowing in the sand and then creates something, and so it's where some people would look at it like, such a way somebody else thinks it's fantastic, and so it's doing a lot of that, and then she's gonna be trying to save the family business and all this stuff. So it does drag a little bit here and there, but it's entertaining enough that I actually really enjoyed it. It was funny, and like I said, it's the characters and the visuals that are so well done that make it work. It's kind of that I like saying it's a visual treat for the senses because there's so many vibrant colors. And interesting characters, and they're not. This kind of reminds me of that original side of like the one with all the emotions.
Yes, that was
Inside Out.
Inside Out.
It had that same vibe of that kind of world that
I like that.
You're seeing these characters, and like when she gets really mad, she combusts bigger, and everybody's names are kind of based on their who they are. And there's like this one little tree kid that keeps talking about how he's becoming more mature because he's growing. He grows armpit hair. And he lifts his arm and it's like a little flower sprouted out.
Oh, cute.
So it's fun. And I think my favorite is when they're coming into the country at one point. They're showing these fire people that are coming in. And there's this guy. It's another tree guy. Big nose. It's like a tree branch.
Oh,
right? And he's talking. He goes, "Why are you here?" "Oh, you go, "Oh, right." And then he gets over, he slaps his nose, and then he slams his face on the table, and it's the stamp to let him in the country, which is on the end of the wooden nose.
Oh,
I was like, it was cracking up. So
that's
anyway, I thought it was clever fun. It didn't do very well this weekend.
Oh, there's still some other big things out there.
Well, I want to talk about that real quick before we leave, because the next movie too didn't do that great.
Oh,
well, not
was
great.
It just a bad weekend? Maybe Father's Day, or
it's a mixed bag, because I think there's been a lot, and this is just my opinion. Used to be if a Disney movie came out, it was going to be a massive hit.
Right.
If a comic book movie came out, it was going to be a massive hit typically. And I think we have a lot of elements at play. The Flash thing was always going to be a 50-50 shot because of the Ezra Miller situation, the DC status, the fact that they're rebooting the entire DC universe. I know there's a lot of people who are like, why do I need to see this movie now? Does it really matter to the rest of the universe? Then you have some people are thinking there's some superhero movie fatigue. And then you have COVID mentality of how many people are actually going to the movies anymore, you know, which is why so many things are streaming. And I think the same thing has kind of happened to Disney. I think there's just a matter of, I'm leaning more towards the people going to the movies, but not necessarily because of their dislike or disdain or anger or disinterest for anything. I think because there's so many streaming options, and we now know that, hey, this movie's going to end up streaming.
It's going to end up here anyway. Yeah.
I think that's it has hurt the industry, because before that, you would think about it, but it didn't happen as fast. It didn't happen as often because COVID changed all that.
Yeah.
That COVID year made it where things started being able to watch things at home. It changed me too, because the screenings we used to have to go to the theater, they were sending us digitally.
And we're like, we never have to leave our house again. Love it.
I'd rather not go.
And even so, when COVID, when they kind of relaxed and we were allowed to go out, like we loved going to the movies because there was no one there.
Well, and I realized this morning.
I still like that. I want my popcorn.
I had started getting burned out on going to the movies again.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I don't really care about going. I want to watch the movie, but I want to watch it at home. I don't want to go anywhere now. Yeah, we got used to it. I love the big screens. And I think part of it comes into my hearing issues. I hate having to wear the things. I feel like it's annoying because I can't hear things if it doesn't work. But this morning I had a realization that I really love my Sunday morning movie, because that used to be my thing.
That was your thing, and they didn't have them anymore. Yeah, for a long time. They stopped having
anything before 12, and some people are like, we'll go at 12, but I teach a class at 3, so it depends. It becomes too tight of a thing. Where, like, I was sitting there in this movie this morning going, I may be back to doing this again, and I can come and sit here and nobody's here, nobody's bothering me, and I can enjoy it. So I may be hitting the movies again every Sunday.
There you go.
But anyway, I like the movie. It's a fun movie. It's cute. It's heartfelt. There's a moment I was telling you that it doesn't pull as many of the heartstrings as you expect.
That's what I was wondering with their relationship.
No, it is heartfelt and it's emotional and stuff, but it didn't feel like the normal Pixar. We're waiting. Then boom, cry, motherfucker.
Yeah.
But it did have
Pixar. The shorts make me cry more than anything.
Which it does have a new short starring Carl from Up and the dog.
Oh, sweet.
And it's cute. It's not as emotional, but it's cute. It does have some. You would probably cry.
I probably will,
because you cried it up anyway. But
I cry at everything.
But there is a moment.
I don't cry at real life, but I cry at the movies.
There is a moment at the end of Elemental that actually made me tear up a little bit. Because it was actually a really well done, powerful moment, because it was something that's connected to earlier in the movie that you might have easily forgot about. Until, are you crying?
No.
Oh.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know. I looked at your eyes were all watery looking. I'm like, are you crying because of the thought of me crying?
Yes, I am. Because you don't get moved by many things. But it was
like, when the thing was fixing to happen, I was like, are you fixing to relive this moment?
Aww.
And when it started to happen, I was like, oh, shit. And you'll completely understand why it would affect me. When you see what it is.
Oh, okay. I'm excited.
It's not like a personal thing, really, but it is connected to something that's kind of in relation to my life. Mm-hmm. And it was like, makes total sense. And I can see how the earlier problem can affect them and how this means so much more at this point. So anyway, if you want to see something different, I know everybody's watching Spider-Man. It's ruling the box office of animation. Watch Elemental. It was fun. It was a good movie.
There you go.
Don't wait for Disney Plus. Take your kids.
Yeah. There you go. And did that kid do good at the movie?
Yeah, I didn't hear the kid at all.
There you go.
I mean, I don't hear anything, but yeah, I didn't see the kid getting up. I didn't see anybody moving around. I had to watch it without the headset because I assumed they weren't working. So they haven't been working the last couple of weeks.
That's too bad.
But it's all right. It was very loud.
Now, talking about the movie experience, we went to go see The Flash because that's what everyone's doing. All the cool kids.
That's right.
We went to the screening that had subtitles on the screen, And if they ever have that again, I want to do that. I enjoyed it so much.
This was just a normal
screening.
We bought a ticket. I saw a screening of it, and then we went to a normal for you to see it.
Bought a screening. Yes, it wasn't IMAX or digital or anything. It was a normal screen, subtitles for me. But it had subtitles. No, even for me.
I know, but it was for me. Is why we bought it.
But you know what? I now watch everything on TV with subtitles. Because when there's multiple people talking, when there's just people that mumble in TV shows or whatever, I love the subtitles. I'm so used to it now.
I love the subtitles because I can't hear nothing.
I know, but I'm used to it now. So anyways, we went to see The Flash this week.
Now, I know I kind of want to preempt of this, and I know it's not necessary.
It is,
but I did in my review as well. But I know there's controversy based on this movie due to Ezra Miller. And his actions and the things that he did or was accused of. I don't know what's true, what's not. I'm not saying I don't believe anything. Clearly he did something, and most, if not all of the things they said he did. I also know that supposedly he is getting treatment for mental health and it was in a facility. I know they've kept him specifically away from any press for the movie. I think outside of maybe doing the red carpet for the main premiere, I believe. By no means am I saying I think anything he did is okay. My view of watching a movie like this, part of it is my nerd mentality is I want to see this. I don't care who did what. I want to see this dang movie. But I also look at it as all the other people that worked on this movie and put their life and their blood and the directors. And I don't think any of the movie should suffer because of one person's actions. And in this case, it's the lead of the movie that you can't change. I also think we got to figure out a way as a society on when do you forgive somebody? When do you give them? I'm not saying he's there yet. I'm just saying because we've had all these people that have had issues, say like Kevin Hart, who got in trouble for his gay jokes and this and this and this. And then 10 years later, because somebody brought it up, he was being attacked again, despite apologizing already. When do we get that moment to say, okay, you got help. You look like you're trying to be better. Or maybe we'll give you another chance. You know what I mean? It's. I'm not saying everything's forgivable. And I'm not even talking about Ezra Miller himself. I'm just saying, in general, we've got to find that because you can't always just beat somebody down, but expect them to be better, but then never give them a chance to be better.
Yeah, I'm torn on this one just because he has a long history of a lot of crazy stuff. I agree. And I agree, it points to mental health issues, but there's drug charges. There's the fight where he threw something at the lady. There's the fight at the karaoke bar, but then
there was supposedly some kidnapping or something.
Well, after the karaoke fight, then he goes online and threatens to kill the people. There was a thing where he's like, "Hey, all you KKK people, shoot yourself in the head with your own guns, or we'll come." I mean, there's a bunch of outbursts. That point to
that all scream
mental health issues, but
again, that doesn't necessarily make anything
don't go out there and do that stuff. And drug possession charges, driving crazy. I mean, there's like one thing after another, which I agree points to mental health problems, and hopefully it's all sorted.
At the same time, I firmly agree and support anybody that says I will not watch the movie because of that person.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying any of this to say you need to get over it and watch it.
No, don't. You don't have to. If you don't want to.
You have to find what works for you, but we also need to have that conversation at some point. Not about him necessarily, but in general, when do we give somebody that chance to be better? When do we give them the chance to show us they're better? You have the people that are racial issues or whatever. We always hear people talking about when people get out of prison, they deserve a second chance, but then nobody wants to give them a second chance. But if it's Hollywood or the sports, nobody deserves a second chance kind of thing.
Yeah, that whole weird kidnap thing. Who knows? Yeah. Supposedly they were on the run or something.
So who knows?
But
that being said.
But see, some of the other stuff, he was sentenced for whatever or had to do ever. Some charges were dropped, this and that. So to me, my mental line of where do I draw the line is if you went to jail, you served time, you were convicted, and or the charges were dropped, it's done.
It's time to move on unless they do something again.
Unless they do it again. Now, this one thing, I think this one case from June with the I don't know what happened. The people on the run. That one, it still looks like it's pending. I
don't know.
I have no idea what's going on. So I agree with you. If you choose not to watch it, I absolutely understand.
I don't feel the need to defend myself to watch anything
I
want to watch because I'll do whatever I want.
I think everybody can do whatever
people to understand, because I've had a couple people ask me, why would you review this movie? Why would you watch this movie? Or I've seen other people post about going to see it saying like, I'm going to see this movie, but I'm only here for this. Like they feel like this justification. I'm only watching this movie because Michael Keaton's here. So don't worry, it's okay. I still don't support him. I had somebody else said that I will never watch this movie because he's a piece of trash, whatever. And I'm like,
yeah, I agree.
I totally respect you. If that's the way you feel, then don't. I said, I'm watching this movie as a fan of the product and of all the other people that busted their ass to work on this film that I think deserves to be seen. But it's a different opinion. So that being said, this movie,
we did go see it.
This movie did infuse. I've seen it twice. I've loved it both times. I will just tell you that. It does do everything we've been hearing about, infusing multiple properties, resetting the multiverse, if you will, doing all this stuff. So you have his character is actually from the Zack Snyder era of Man of Steel, Justice League, Aquaman, all that group. So for this film, you don't need, but it's kind of connected with Man of Steel, Batman, Superman, and Justice League. And then on the other side, because Michael Keaton's here, you have the 2 Michael Keaton Batman movies. You don't even have to see those as long as you know his existence. Nothing here outside of maybe the Batman element of the Justice League stuff and the Batman of Michael Keaton is really important. Because it's almost kind of an origin story.
I think as long as you know it's all, feeling you remember him and where he came from, and that the Batman, Ben Affleck, Batman gave him the suit, or was that him?
Well, he made his own suit, but I think the implication is that it maybe helped him get the new suit.
Helped him get some new technology. The one that we see now. Yeah.
Because the new one looks more like the Flash is supposed to look.
Correct.
And that first one looked like...
I was always wanting the other kid from the Flash in here, but whatever.
From the show?
Yeah. I don't know that he would...
I like him on the show, but I don't...
This might have been too much for him.
No, I think he could have carried it fine. Before I got, see, I think as the way they played the Flash up is kind of somebody partially on the spectrum, a little awkward in Justice League. Yeah. Zack Snyder's, I thought worked awesomely
for him. Yeah.
And I think in this one, what's really great is we've seen a growth of the character who's a little more confident. He's still awkward. He's still confused, but he's a little more confident. He's a little more comfortable in his shoes. We've got an evolution of things. And I thought it's a very clever origin story to the Flash as well, because we're not just going to buy the numbers following it, but you're seeing the elements that got his dad in jail that we know the story of. You find out about how he got his powers through a completely different circumstance that I thought was kind of clever in the way they put it together.
Isn't that what happened in the TV show?
Yeah. I'm just saying as far as the movie origin for that character.
Here's the thing for me, I didn't go back and watch any of the stuff you did. Yeah. I just remembered enough from the TV series that I was like, I got this. Because it's exactly the same.
It's the same origin.
Same thing, same multiverse, trying to go back and fix things that you shouldn't do.
And you still never saw the Crisis crossover for the Flash.
I did not. Maybe I'll just go watch that.
And Ezra Miller's in that as well.
Is he? Because he's one of them.
Well, the 2 Flashes come face to face, so he's from the movie, and Grant Gustin are there together.
I know. I like this guy. Anyways.
And I will say this too, and I feel obligated to say this because I'm just going to be honest. It's obviously very sad of all the stuff that he did, because Ezra Miller is phenomenal in this movie. I thought his performance was, I know you didn't like part of it because you were annoyed by one of the characters.
Yeah, I'm annoyed.
But I thought he was still fantastic performance wise, because even the annoying character who is supposed to be annoying is annoying, and the other side is excellent. I thought he was outstanding in this movie.
Yeah. For me, I enjoyed the movie. I'm not going to say it's my favorite. I think I like Justice League better.
Which one?
The long one, the super long 4-hour one.
That was a test.
That I liked, and because those have the people that I like in it. I got me my Batman and my Wonder Woman, and that's really what matters to me is Wonder Woman. But Aquaman and the whole thing. Anyways, and I like that we're fighting something together that is so big that we can only do it if we're together. Anyways, this one was fine. I did like it. I enjoyed me some Michael Keaton, because, how can you not?
Michael Keaton was awesome. And I was so against when they cast him as Batman, like most people.
Yeah.
And then I became...
You didn't bring Michael Keaton out. Go get him.
I'll get him in a second. I'll go get him in a second because he's big. We'll bring him in and just show him.
Go bring Michael Keaton.
Because we'd have to clear all this stuff for space.
But, I see Michael Keaton, and I still see... You're not going to like my reference. When
don't say first daughter.
First daughter.
I'll push you out of the chair.
I love me some Michael
All
Keaton.
the stuff that Michael Keaton has done in his career, and you go back to that trash
I love it. Anyways, it doesn't matter. But I liked it. I liked that we brought in, you see in the poster, and it's on there, we have Kara instead of Kal-El. So we got that happening.
I'll be honestly, I was a little concerned with her. I didn't think I was going to like her. And it was awesome.
Yeah, it was good. But there's a point in the story for me, or in the movie for me, where it got slow for me. It was a little too much and annoying with the Flash going back in time with the Flash. That was just like, okay, when is this joke going to be over? Because for me, the joke wore on too long.
See, and I didn't get any kind of joke wearing at all.
It was because it's like, and then this guy's like, stop doing that. It was too long. It was like 30 minutes of that. See, it was too much for
I disagree, because I felt what we were getting was, and I've seen it twice. So
I know, but you know what I mean.
No,
right?
I know, but what I'm saying is I would have.
I don't know if I'm making myself understood.
When I look at the second time, it's usually when I see, does this movie hold up? Because am I being blinded by the light?
And it could be that I already go in with a bone to pick with Ezra Miller, because I'm still angry about it. I'm upset about all the craziness. And then I wonder too. I hate saying this preemptively. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I'll admit I'm wrong later. I don't like the people saying, "Oh, it's because I have mental health issues." Is that just your reason to get out of something? But I do agree, a lot of his behavior is so erratic and crazy, it points to him not being okay. But did your computer just die? Who knows? It's just, I don't like that. But anyways, Michael Keaton to me was the bright star of this. There you go. There's a lot of other stuff. There are a lot of good surprises. I do like through when we're in the little multiverse circle thing. I don't know what it's called. What happened? It just died?
No idea. It just turned off.
I don't remember what it's called. We're in the little multiverse bubble.
Well, this story,
it happens in the TV show too.
This story is essentially, this is called the Speed Force.
The Speed Force.
This story is essentially Flashpoint.
Yes, but you know, when we're in the Speed Force and we see all these different things and timelines and I liked that. I thought it was really cool, and I know visually a lot of people are complaining about that. They don't like the
no, they think there's a lot of people that
not the animation,
the
CGI of it, but it's interesting.
The director actually came out, and of course, there's a lot of people that are calling bull, saying that he just said that he's full of shit. But he's saying
I understood
his reasoning behind the way it looks is it looks almost more video game-ish.
Yes.
As he said, because in the Speed Force of his moving,
it's the way he thinks, he's moving like this.
He would feel like he's seeing things distorted. So
yes.
it
makes sense.
Representations of the things he's seeing.
Oh, The Protege. Let's pick that for Michael Keaton.
What about Pacific Heights? What about Mr. Mom? What about...
I wasn't a Mr. Mom guy. That's
what?
you.
Mr. Mom is fantastic. What about Night Shift with Henry Winkler?
The Founder?
The Founders, you're all like current stuff.
I don't know older stuff. I don't know.
Have you never seen Night Shift?
No.
With Michael Keaton and Henry Winkler?
No. I don't think I've actually seen Mr. Mom.
What in the blazing hell?
First Daughter is when I'm a Michael Keaton, so that starts in what year? 2004.
We're watching Mr. Mom tonight.
Okay. Let's do it. Did he ever do a boxing movie or?
I don't think so. You ever seen Pacific Heights? With I think it's
never heard of it.
Matthew Modine and Melanie
I've seen
Griffith.
Batman and Vicky Vale.
In Pacific Heights, he plays like a crazy serial killer type.
Oh no, I don't know any of these things.
Come on,
Beetlejuice, obviously, but I don't like Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice is outstanding.
I've never enjoyed it.
They're currently shooting
they're
redoing
it. I'm going to try to watch it again, maybe at the time in good old 1988. My movie sensibilities were
Johnny
not there.
Dangerously?
Nope, never saw it.
You never seen Johnny Dangerously?
Nope.
Oh.
We're going to have to start a...
Johnny Dangerously with Joe Piscopo and...
Okay, let me finish my J-Lo marathon, and then we're doing Michael Keaton marathon. We will go back and watch everything starting from the 70s. Lord have mercy. Go get Batman. Because y'all have got to see this ridiculousness that I live with in my house. What happened to your computer? It just
the
died.
battery was dying.
Lord,
it's not ridiculousness. It's
mercy.
Genius.
Let me move some stuff
You're
over.
just jealous.
I am jealous. I am so jelly. I can't even tell you how jelly I am. Move this little possessed doll. You better not move again or I'm going to hit you. Move Paddington. Put that thing right there. Oh my gosh. I'm Batman.
There, Michael Keaton is here.
You don't move it up a little. It's in my way. Lord have
what
mercy.
Ridiculousness. Everybody should have their own Michael Keaton bust.
This is ridiculous. This is the height of ridiculousness. Hold on. Let me turn this off so I can do a screenshot. Look at the front. Hold on. It didn't work.
Anyway.
Oh, it did. Okay, now look at the front now. Okay, thanks.
We're doing a live video and you're making me pose for a photo.
It's done.
It is awesome. Michael Keaton is outstanding in this movie.
He is. He's
he dives
really
right
good.
Back in. It was a little hit and miss with his intro, but I kind of like what they did.
I enjoyed it.
I will say that there's people that I know that felt like it was going to be. It's just a Batman movie with the Flash. It's a full-on Flash movie.
It's about the Flash.
This movie is Ezra Miller's movie, but they did a good thing, and it's not just a quick cameo.
Correct.
Batman gets to get in on the action. He gets full-on arc. Even the Ben Affleck parts of it are given good strength and purpose.
Oh, now we have to talk about favorite Batman.
We'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
But then there's also plenty of really cool surprises that they do.
You've got to pay attention. This is one of those where you got to pay attention.
Yeah, you blink and you miss some of the little things. And the way they wrap it all up, they could be doing other Flash movies, or they could just leave the Flash out in the world that he's in and move on and do new stuff, because there's not a Flash movie planned right now. And the way the box office was, I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of ended here. The director that did this movie has already been hired to do the new Batman movie, the Batman Brave and the Bold movie. So we'll see what happens. I love this movie. I really did. And I don't know if it's just the comic book side of me. I love the story. I love the way it was connected. I can understand what you're saying about some of this stuff going on a little bit too long.
Mm-hmm.
But I enjoyed what they were doing with it, so it didn't bother me. But either way, I really dug this movie. And stick through the credits. There is an end credit scene. It's not overly important, but it's also something that further cements maybe who's still in what universe.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So, all right. So you want to talk about...
Here we go. Animated actors, everyone in the whole world.
I know most of who they all are.
Okay.
So you want to talk about live action Batmans first?
Let's talk about live action Batmans first.
Who's your favorite live action Batman?
I have to go with
Adam West.
No.
You almost said it.
Adam West. No.
You're gonna say Christian Bale.
No.
Oh.
Why am I looking at this? It's gonna just confuse me.
I don't know. Just look at live action Batmans.
Okay.
There's not that many live action Batmans.
Live action Batman.
Don't you just know who they are?
No. Why would I know that?
The only ones I would expect you maybe not to know are the ones from like the 40s serials or whatever they're at, 30s, 40s.
Well, okay, we have to bring that up. Okay, Adam West, I think classic.
Yeah, that's
not the best Batman, but classic.
But that whole aura of them making that back then was to make a comic book come to life.
Correct.
And I'm a firm believer. I actually just said somebody else that posted about Batman Return or Batman Forever or Batman Forever. They were posting about it because of the campness of it and the cheese. And for me, had they made the Batman movies like that out the gate, not the Tim Burton version, but we went right into the Batman and Robin and the Batman Forever kind of campiness, I think they would have been a big hit.
But
it was when we went from this to the cheese, and it took because that stuff would have looked like
a turn.
That stuff looked like it would just come right out of the Adam West era.
Correct. It would have made more sense in a progression.
Yeah.
But I will give props to Adam West because I think seeing a character on TV, it was a big deal. So I'm going to give some props to that. And that show was fun.
Yeah,
sometimes
I love that show. It's ridiculous.
But it was fun. I mean, because sometimes you just can't get rid of a bomb.
And, and do you know who else was tapped to play Batman in that old show?
Who?
I asked you and then I forgot his name. The guy that was on Carol Burnett, the handsome guy.
Oh, the guy from Wonder Woman.
Yes. It was Steve Rogers.
Yes,
he was supposedly going to be Batman at one point.
Oh, really? That might have made sense. He would have been good. He was good looking.
Adam West was over the top. He was kind of the William Shatner of Batman.
Yes.
He was great.
Then more modern era. I'm going to say Ben Affleck. I think he did a wonderful job embodying both. I think we've gone through this. There's some that I feel like are more Batman and some that are more
Bruce Wayne.
Bruce Wayne.
I agree. Like George Clooney was a perfect example of
beautiful Bruce Wayne.
Visual embodiment of both characters. He had the square jaw.
Yeah.
He looked like a playboy. He just had a shit script.
Yeah.
And I love those movies. I think they're a blast. They're just stupid.
And then but the overall total, I'll pick Ben Affleck. For Batman, I like Christian Bale Batman because it's very dark and just like
that trilogy is outstanding.
It is really good.
The third movie is the weakest of the bunch, but it works connected with the rest of the films. I think I agree. I think Christian Bale was a great Batman. It was somebody that I didn't think would play Batman until seeing something like Equilibrium. Realized that guy's badass. Ben Affleck, I agree. I think he's one of the most outstanding Batmans. But it's because he's like that hard, chiseled Batman already. We're not seeing... I don't know how well he would have been as an early Batman younger.
Well, and that's where I come in with, unbelievably, Robert Pattinson and that era of that story of him starting out. I think he did a great job in this movie, in the new movie.
I love the new Batman movie. It's that weird...
When I think people didn't understand, this is the beginning of Batman. Look where we are, and people are like, "Oh, he's too little to be Batman."
There's also a comic element that it's not accurate because it was like...
Okay, fine.
He was not running around an angsty teen, but what they were doing there was they were dealing with somebody who didn't know who they were.
Correct.
Like in this movie, his mask was Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
And he's Batman.
Yeah.
Where by the end of the movie, his mask is Batman.
It's Batman.
It's got to be Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
You got to have both.
He has to figure that out.
That was kind of in the Christopher Nolan trilogy was the same idea. Where Bruce Wayne was the mask.
Yeah.
But he knew balance because we got that journey.
We got it all. But then now if you look at Michael Keaton, I will say Michael Keaton, like longevity wise to be Batman, like, and like you said, if we could do a Batman Forever.
Batman Beyond.
I loved that
Everybody's
show.
been begging for that for years.
He would be perfect as old man grumpy Batman.
And he's just proved that he can do it.
Old man grumpy Batman.
And it's even be easier because he wouldn't even have to put on the suit anymore. He could just walk around with a cane and yell at people.
Yeah.
That's all that Batman needs to do. And then you can bring in the younger person to play,
whoever.
Terry McGinnis, and then you're ready to go.
Then you're good.
That's right. I know the name of Batman Beyond.
Yeah. I just remember watching the show, so I don't know. But anyway.
I do too. That's how I know his name.
I think Ben Affleck.
All right.
Okay. Then
moving on.
I'm gonna say favorite Flash. I don't know. The guy with the tin hat.
There's not a very many Flashes.
The guy with the tin hat, the original.
Well, he didn't have a tin hat in the original. You're talking about John Wesley Shipp, who had the original TV series.
Yes.
And they came back as Jay
guy
Garrick.
Yes.
But he was Barry Allen in the original
TV show.
In the original Flash show from the 80s.
Yeah.
He was the Flash.
I enjoyed him in the Flash TV show. He was really emotional.
One season, and I love that show, and I like the look of his suit.
It was cool.
So I was so happy he became a major part of the Flash series.
The series, yes, that's what I'm saying. I liked him in that.
Yeah,
he was so good, and it was so emotional because he really had that connection with young Barry
in the show. And then he became Jay Garrick, who was the original Tin Hat Flash.
Yes, I loved the Tin Hat Flash. That's who I'm going to pick.
And speaking of which, there's I can't say it. I
can't say nothing.
It's a spoiler, so I'll have to tell you after the fact. There's something funny that's going around by the new Flash.
Okay. Now, has there been controversy about
Supergirl?
Yes.
I think more about people saying
she's not a blonde girl.
Yeah, why isn't she not blonde? No, I haven't heard any issues about her being Hispanic or whatever. She's Colombian, right?
She's Colombiana.
I haven't heard any issues about that. But there is an era of Supergirl that's not blonde and running around in a skirt. And like I said, I thought I had a little concern with her. But one, I'm not a big fan of Supergirl. Yeah. And I just didn't know how it was working. She's fantastic in the movie.
Good.
I think everybody's amazing in this movie. I thought it was really well done. I can see your issues. Like I said, I understand people's issues that maybe not want to watch it. I love this freaking movie.
I thought overall it's enjoyable. There's a few, maybe 20, 30 minutes that I was like, but it came back. So it's fine.
And I know there's some people that think that Michael Keaton's Batman got kind of the finger. And I'm like, I saw just the opposite. I saw a respect for the character.
Yeah.
Because as Michael Keaton being an older actor, they could have used him for a quick getaway and then brought Ben Affleck back, or they could have not had Batman at all.
Yeah.
Because technically this movie didn't need Batman. It didn't need Supergirl. They could have told this same story without any of them. It was, and people are like, well, they need to do that to sell it for Ezra Miller. No, they were already making this movie before all those troubles started. So it was just an interesting way to reset things and do something different. And they hadn't changed ownership of who's running DC at that point. Warner Brothers, not ownership, but just who's the leadership. So we thought this was going to be a continuation thing, and now we don't know what's going to happen. But either way, I love the movie. I thought it was excellent.
Well, there you go. It is in theaters now. It was the #1 movie of the weekend. But you were saying number wise,
it
dollar
only made
wise,
like $55 million.
Well, overall, the weekend was low for everything.
And it's a 4-day, considered a 4-day holiday week because of Juneteenth.
Yes.
So we'll see. But same thing with Elemental. They didn't make as much either.
But Elemental was number 2. Spider-Man is still holding strong. We have Transformers, Little Mermaid, and The Blackening, which I want to go see later. So we'll make that happen. So I'm excited. I'm excited in the midst of all this, we have a horror movie.
See, I knew there was a reason I needed to own this.
Yeah. Thank you.
If you're looking for your own Michael Keaton bust, they don't have any more of them, but you can go over to Keith's Comics in Dallas, Texas. They have so many other great things.
There you go. Thank you, Keith's Comics, for this nonsense.
This is what lives in my house.
Yep.
It's going to go on our headboard.
It scared the baby only once.
It's going to go on the headboard.
She went and she said bye to Batman.
It's going to go headboard in our bedroom.
No, but the baby did go say bye to Batman.
Now she comes to this. He's referred to as Lucky Batman. So we say bye, Batman. She goes, bye, Batman. So she pats him.
That kid is crazy.
So,
anyways,
if you want to have good luck in your life,
Lucky Batman.
Rub Michael Keaton's head.
Wow. All right.
If I ever get a chance to meet Michael Keaton again,
take this up.
I'm taking his head to get signed because I do have Michael Keaton's autograph on my Batman DVD.
Oh wow! When did you see Michael Keaton?
We met him at Comic-Con. You were in fact there because I believe you got my Batman Returns autographed. I got them both autographed.
I would be like, I like you at first daughter.
I think you did try to say that. I told you to shut it.
Did you?
I think so. Wow. Well, I think I still have them over there.
Why didn't I get first daughter signed? I watched that movie all the time.
I don't know where they're at now. They're
over
there.
Know. Batman?
I mean, that whole section right there is Batman.
Oh.
I just got to see where the actual Batman
I don't know. Move on. It's over to you, buddy. Tag.
Anyway. All right. We move on. We just went off random nonsense.
Random tangents. That's okay. That's what we do.
Going on this. Sorry. All right. So this week on the Blu-ray. Oh, Flash is in theaters now, so check it out.
I said that.
I said it again. Flash is in theaters if you want to get nuts. That was Michael Keaton talking. So this week we have a lot of like re-release stuff, as well as a few new ones. So we have The Manchurian Candidate, Vanilla Sky, Ronin with Robert De Niro, The Firm with Tom Cruise are all getting the 4K treatments. The Covenant, Guy Ritchie's The Covenant that we talked about today will be hitting. The movie on Shudder, Skinamarink, which we still never did watch, which I've heard is fantastic.
Is it scary, right?
Yeah, it's a horror film. Skinamarink is getting the Blu-ray release. And also Avatar The Way of Water is finally getting its Blu-ray 4K release. And they're putting out a new release of the first movie Avatar on 4K.
Oh, okay.
All that stuff. So
I really enjoyed that second one.
I did too. It made the first one better.
Yes, it did.
It did for Avatar what Top Gun Maverick did for Top Gun.
Yes.
As neither one of us were a fan of the beginning of those films. So anyway, that's all that's pretty much coming out right now.
Okay. Well, coming out online or at the theater on Monday, tomorrow, a Video Demand and Digital is a movie called Black Lotus. It's a special forces guy that goes to try to rescue the daughter of his best friend. Coming out on Tuesday, also on Video Demand and Digital, a movie called Coyote, a story of forbidden love. But we're in a dystopian future where teleportation is there.
That's familiar. Who is in that?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know any of these people, but
that's fine. They're
trying to, it's a love corruption kind of thing. Also, the movie I Am T-Rex. I am so looking forward to this movie. I don't know. It looks like an animated feature. We'll be talking about it in a second.
We're also giving away copies of it on our website.
We have a copy on HollywoodMatrimony.com. A movie called Surrounded, set in the Old West. A young man holds a notorious outlaw captive as the gang closes in, trying to take him back. So it's a shoot 'em up, fighting back. There you go. And a movie called South Beach Shark Club. It's the 70s in Miami. A group of teens trying to catch the biggest shark of all time. This already sounds like a dumb movie with the dumb teenagers doing dumb things.
How dare you?
It's a documentary based on true events. Oh. Yes. A shark club.
Why are you yelling at me?
They're trying to catch a shark. Coming out on Wednesday to Disney Plus, the new series Secret Invasion.
It's a new Marvel series.
It's the one where Samuel L. Jackson is there, and now they're blaming him for all the craziness
with all the scrolls and stuff
that's coming to the planet.
It's based on an actual comic story arc.
So
but it won't be the same because they changed everything.
Excited to see that. Coming out on Friday, I am excited to see this movie, No Hard Feelings. It's the new raunchy-looking comedy with Jennifer Lawrence, and I am there, people. I am there.
It does look hilarious.
It looks great. Also one for probably not for everyone, but definitely for us, Asteroid City.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
It's the new movie from
Wes
Anderson, who makes very eclectic type movies. So
Grand Budapest Hotel, Moonrise Kingdom, Moonrise Kingdom, The Royal Tenenbaums, The Life Aquatic with Steve Shuju.
If you're into that kind of stuff, he has a new movie. It looks really fun to me. Coming out to Netflix, a movie called Make Me Believe. It's a bunch of grandmas that are trying to hook up their grandchildren.
Oh, goodness.
Okay. Something like that. Grown-up grandchildren into a meet cute to rekindle a childhood crush. So we'll see what happens there. Coming to Shudder, a movie called Unwelcome. A couple escapes the urban nightmare in rural Ireland, only to hear stories of mysterious beings who are in the woods of their garden. Kind of sounds like that other movie we watched. With the creatures in the woods.
Oh, wait, that is that movie.
Oh, it is? Oh, Unwelcome.
It is.
Oh, it's coming to Shudder. Oh, great. You're going to get to see this crazy movie.
It sounds just like that other because it's the same names.
Okay, good. So this is the movie. We saw this, and it's crazy. So here's the thing. If someone tells you that, hey, I'm going to give you this free home in Ireland, but you need to make sure you leave fresh meat or blood every night as an offering for the creatures in the woods, just do it. Okay?
I like that. Like,
I'm not going to do it, but you said you would.
Yeah, I was like,
because I don't believe in pagan gods or whatever, or sacrifices, but you would do it.
The discussion was, would you take that house? I'm like, hells yeah, I would take that house, and I would go out there, I'd leave that blood every day. I would do the sacrifice, because if you're doing it and there's no issue, then what do we worry about?
I mean, I'm gonna go bless the house, but out there in the woods,
if it's not real, what am I hurting? Wild animals are going to come get free food. If it is real, I'm more than off and saving the world.
There you go. So, anyways, coming to Netflix, Through My Window Across the Sea. This is the second chapter in the romance novel from Ariana Godoy, if you're into that.
Ariana
Godoy. Video Demand and Digital, The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster.
Oh, I know about that.
This looks like to be a horror movie or a thriller. The teen believes death is a disease that can be cured.
I think it's the girl that in it is the daughter from The Equalizer. Looks like her.
Oh, okay. After the murder of her brother, she goes on a journey to try to bring him back. So that never goes well. Also coming to Netflix, I Number Gozy Gold, an undercover cop, is investigating a gold heist in Johannesburg. And to Disney Plus, The World's Best, a young math kid vows to become the world's best MC. What? So that's going to be cute. It's a family musical.
Is it?
Yes. Also coming to Netflix, The Perfect Find, a woman trying to start her new career over. This is the newest movie with Gabrielle Union, so you'll want to check that out if you're into her. Coming to Video Demand and Digital, there's so much coming out. The Country Club.
Hold on. I got to just make an announcement. I just learned this. So the girl I just told you, that angry black girl and her monster, I told you is the daughter from The Equalizer.
Yeah, it's his daughter. His real life daughter.
Who?
I don't know. Denzel Washington.
No. What? No, from the TV show, not
Denzel
Washington.
Okay.
She's Doc McStuffins.
She's the voice of Doc McStuffins? I love Doc McStuffins.
She is Doc McStuffins.
Okay, sorry.
I don't know why that was such a big deal, but I just saw her like, Doc McStuffins?
We met Doc McStuffins at Disney last year. Okay, coming to Video Demand
74 episodes
and Digital's The Country Club. It's a comedy about these rich people and the teenagers dealing with them, but unlikely love and friendship. Coming to Netflix, King of Clones. It's a documentary about human cloning research, but also the scandalous downfall that could happen. This is the one where the Korean scientist is now telling all of the work that they did and kind of the ins and outs and kind of the downside of what they did to the whole thing. Anyways, that's all. There's a lot happening, but make sure you get to the theater. Watch something new. Get some popcorn.
I got this poster too.
Oh, yeah.
Sarah Michael Keaton from The Flash that were given out. I also know that if you go watch it in IMAX, there's some different posters.
There's a different poster.
That they told us we couldn't.
We tried to take one.
They're like, you're not watching IMAX. We're like, I'm deaf. Oh, the funny part about that.
Oh my gosh, we're so dumb.
Anytime we go to the theaters, we go in. I go straight to the counter to get my hearing device, and they've had issues with the first time. So we waited and we waited and we waited and we waited, and they were trying to get it to work, and they come back to me and they were like, "It's not working." I said, "Fine." So we walked away. He's like, "Well, I'll just make do." And then we were halfway in, and she goes, "We bought the tickets for the subtitled ones. I didn't even need it the whole time."
We're so silly. Anyways, tell me what contests we have, babe.
So we got a few new ones here. We got a movie, Day Zero. It's a new zombie flick with some ex-MMA fighter, and if you look at him, the guy looks a little bit cross-eyed, so I don't know. He does. Look at it close up. He's some ex-MMA, like a real-life ex-MMA fighter. Sorry.
Yeah.
From Wogo USA. Also, I Am T-Rex that you brought up, the animated features.
I'm excited to see that. I love T-Rex.
We got copies of the movie
Favorite dinosaur
that we'll be talking about in the coming weeks. Donnie Yen's newest film, Sakura, or Sanka, if he's about to coffee it. And then lastly, we still got copies of A Good Person and Guy Ritchie's The Covenant. And also, I know the contest isn't up anymore, but they sent me some extra ones. So I got some extra restocks of Fist of the Condor.
Oh, wow.
So if you want to, you can still send an email. You don't even have to answer the question or anything because it's not there anymore. So just shoot an email and say, "I want a copy of Fist of the Condor." Dang it. And then
it can be yours.
I'll get scared and I'll send you one.
There you go. All right. Well, that's it for this week, my friends. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. Make sure you find us on our website, hollywoodmatrimony.com. Click the contest button for free stuff. Find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Hive.
Everybody have a wonderful week, and I will see you next time.
Peace out.
Peace out.